quick, guys. Cassidy Hubbard just emailed us. She's going to come on in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
She's leaving shoot around. But Leroy Hoard, the MVP of UCSS, literally within 1 second of texting him, said, hey, you want to come on now? Cassidy's not ready.
Yeah.
He said yes. So no read. Let's bring in Leroy here. We're going to talk some Cavs with Cassidy Hubbard in a second. Like and subscribe because we got Leroy Hoard on the show. What's up, Leroy?
What's happening?
Leroy. This miserable season is over. What is your final thought on the Browns' 2024 season? And Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year. Woof, that offense. I think we assumed that things were going to get a lot better when Chubb got back, and I told you be careful with that.
You did.
We assumed that a bunch of guys weren't going to be who they were. One in Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is your relief guy, right? He's your Joe Flacco. He guy gonna come in and get hot for 2-3 weeks. You're gonna fall in love with him, and then he gonna do Jameis things. I don't know how, because man, he can throw the hell out of the football. He can. The other thing I realize is, look, you bring in young quarterbacks, and there is a level of learning and growing that they have to go through. But it never fails. When you're on a team that struggles, you're thrust into a position that you may not be ready for. And so then everybody says you suck. So with DTR, I don't know if he's quite ready yet. I don't know if he has, a grasp of everything, but he needed to play. I don't know how you go about doing that, because he does have talent, but it just seemed like at times he was lost. So there's a lot of things you got to do on. I mean, you got. It's weird because you have the outside talent. You have guys on the outside who can make plays. You have a tight end who can make plays. Your running game has changed a little bit from the way Chubb ran to the way the other guys run. And so there's a lot of things and adjustments you got to make there. Other than that, you basically took your defense, put them in a shed, and beat the hell out of them, with what you asked them to do on a week-to-week basis.
Now, season's over, and you probably going to change your mind 3 or 4 times by the time this draft comes around. Mm-hmm. Right now, gut feeling.
Yeah.
You see what's available. You got the number 2 pick. Gut feeling. What you doing at 2? And I need a name too.
Here's what
because
I would
every
take.
time somebody asks that question, I think we all collectively do that.
I would take Travis Hunter. And here's why. Unless you are absolutely sold on a quarterback. I hate when teams have a top 5 pick and everybody says they need a quarterback, so they draft a quarterback. And he may not be the right quarterback for you, but you needed a quarterback, and then he struggles and you go through the whole process again. I would rather start drafting guys in supporting roles, and then when I really like a quarterback, go get him. The other thing is, if you bring a quarterback in now, he ain't going to play right away. And the Browns need players. So if you bring a quarterback in now, they still going to try to get some of that money out of Deshaun Watson. So how do you go about that? If you're not happy and you don't want to take Travis Hunter, trade back, get more picks. And so, there's a lot of decisions that have to be made between now and the draft. But the biggest decision has to be made is, what path are we going to take? Who do we really like? Because I've seen teams draft quarterbacks because they needed a quarterback and the quarterback didn't fit. And so now you go 3 or 4 years trying to make that quarterback stick, and keep in mind everything else on your team is getting older. So if anything, I want to see them draft a guy or fall back and get a couple of guys or 3 or 4 guys that can come in and make an impact. That's going to change your team. You look at Detroit. Detroit turned it around because of all them damn draft picks that hit. All those second rounders, third rounders, fourth rounders that hit. So if you can collect as many picks as possible, you can make more of an impact on your team right now than taking a quarterback number 2. Because he ain't going to play right away anyway. And if he has to play, think of the situation you're going to put him in. And then you're going to be the Chicago Bears.
It's going to be bad, Leroy. And
right.
I'm so here's my thought on this whole thing. How much time you giving Stefanski and Barry? Like they're getting next year no matter what, right?
I would say this. With what Stefanski has done these last few years with the quarterback carousel, I'm going to be more patient with him. Because he ain't picking the players. And that's kind of how I fall with that. The biggest loss this past offseason was Callahan. Mm-hmm. And that's, you never hear that. So
that was big.
What was your second part?
I'm gonna be more patient. I'm gonna be more patient with the coach because he's coached his butt off the last couple of years with all the rotations at quarterback and stuff like that. You got to give him that.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm just concerned that if we go another year like this, like the Browns are not going to be good next year.
Right?
Would we agree?
Would we agree? The question is, will they be 3-14 bad or 7-10 bad?
Okay, well, if they're 3-14
then
bad,
he's going to get fired.
I know, but here's the thing: like if you draft a quarterback and you play a rookie, you're going to be 3-14.
Yeah, that's true.
So like,
but
you know, good. Sorry.
Yeah. Here's the problem though. At what cost? Sometimes you play these rookie quarterbacks so early, they never bounce back. And so when you say learn on the fly and put them in a situation where you don't have the supporting cast, what are you saying to this quarterback that you bring in and throw him in the fire and now he's lost too? So now you got to do it again.
Yeah, that's sort of you made my point. That's all I'm just saying. It's like it's a disaster because you've got now a coach, a GM. They came in together. They're together. Yeah. You think, right? Yeah, if you separate them, then what do we have? We have a coach and a quarterback. Like who's gonna outlast this thing because they're not going to be good for at least 2 years.
Unless they get very lucky.
Unless they get very lucky, which do you see that happening?
Right.
I don't.
Think about it this way. I look at it as the coach being the coach and the GM being the GM. I don't know why people put them together. Because a lot of times the GM selects the coach.
Right.
I get that. But once the coach identifies himself as a valid coach and a good coach, then he kind of separates himself from that, and you got to treat him independently. If you say, okay, we're going to get rid of the whole thing and get a new GM and a new coach, and then you're not satisfied with the coach, now you have to have something that's consistent. You have to have something. You can't tell me that Kevin Stefanski is a bad coach. And to just assume that the next guy is going to come in and fix it and be better with this team. Who's to say if you get a new coach and a new GM, they don't have a Gerard Mayo situation?
Right.
Then what?
Leroy, let's wrap it up with this. You mentioned Travis Hunter, and I'm curious, you could compare him to Shohei Ohtani in baseball, who does both, but this is football. As you well know, guys are getting their butts kicked every 10 seconds. So I don't know if a player can survive playing both in the NFL. What would if you were the coach or the GM of the Browns and you drafted Travis Hunter, what would the game plan be in terms of how you use him?
Use him as a football player. Try to win games.
So you'd use him on both sides?
I could play. I would say, okay, play nickel corner or play, half the, and play the third or fourth wide receiver. Until which case where you figure, he's going to make more of an impact just doing this. But I'm never going to say no to a tremendous athlete that can do a lot of things on my team. Bill Belichick used to have a thing. He would say, this guy can do this, this, and this. So technically, we got 57 players, and everybody else only has 53 players.
Right.
So why not? If you got a guy that can play corner and a guy that can play wide receiver, I'm not saying you got to be on the field all the time. That'll end. But who's to say you can't use him as a third wide receiver in a nickel corner?
It's going to be fascinating.
And then in which case, if he identifies as one or the other, you just go with it.
It's going to be fascinating, Leroy. Thanks for joining us, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. All righty.
Thanks, Leroy.
All right, good to talk to Leroy Hoard as always.